I just want to make sure that you know where we're going.
Where are we going,
I don't know,
Gabriel?
I'm not sure. We're
just driving towards the most glorious mountain on a
in
spectacular
Cape Town. What are you
day.
going to do is, if you ever need somewhere to go,
we're going past Milnerton, where we have an incredible church.
Come on. Well,
and I love the fact that we can do church here. So
shout out to all the Milnerton people.
How long have we been in Milnerton? 4 years?
4 years now, and
incredible.
God's done incredible stuff. Even I think that's part of the gift, I think, that lies within you, and maybe that's a good transition point, Mark, because I remember
good segue,
I remember you coming to Life Change Church, and there was lots of different conversations where the church was, but also personally for myself and what God had on my life and our life, myself and Fiona, and some of those conversations you were preempting the more conversations and pushing us to the more. And one of those conversations led to, along with the prophetic words and where God had taken us to the church.
I mean, let's be honest. The first conversation was, "Gosh, you've got a great wife. Hold on."
And the second one, you were desperate, saying, "Oh, Gabe, are you sure God hasn't told you to leave?" Because you were desperately trying to push me out the door. I said, "Mark, I'm going nowhere." And you're like, "Well, supposing we got to do something with you."
It's partly the truth, partly, not entirely.
But something that you've said in a couple of times to me, and I think that could be helpful to a lot of people. And I think is, a few years ago you said, "Gabe," and I mean, the way it came out might have not been as subtle, but you said this line. You said, "Gabe, you are a blessing," and I thought, wow, this man is so encouraging. But
that was a great conversation.
As the years have moved on, I realized that this was just a setup. But you said, "Gabe, you're a blessing," and then comma, "but you're not often a great builder." And I just and that statement, it hurt at the time, but I think it's so
you true. Didn't like it, eh?
No, yeah,
at the time.
But I've used it. What I've realized is that it's actually not just specific to me. I think it's often it's a great leadership thing that actually I don't know how we can turn that into an axiom, but actually people I think are so often they know how to be blessings, but they don't know how to be builders. And they know how to have moments of adding value, but not actually building a story, building a leadership journey, whether it's in business, whether it's in church, whether it's in relationships. Maybe give us some context and maybe some helpful things around, hey, what does it mean to move from being just a blessing to being a builder? What would you say?
I mean, Jesus is a builder. He says, actually, God builds the house. We don't build the house. God builds the house. God builds his church. But he calls us to be a part of that story and the kingdom of God. We are building it. We are part of it. We're getting stuck in. Nehemiah is a picture of a builder who comes into a city with broken down walls. He didn't come and hand out crackers for the people, say, "Sorry, you need a snack. Here's a snack." He came, got stuck in, and built those walls. And he called people to build the walls. So I don't want to take that analogy and make that the everything, but I think there's a mandate on believers to become builders. We build the city we're in. We don't break it down. We become part of redeeming it, restoring it, and leading in it, and we become builders. So I think often in Christian language, it's this hashtag blessed. We're just going to be a blessing, and so hey, here's $50, be blessed, and here's other. We start becoming the handout kings, and we're stepping into space where actually, what if you went a bit deeper and started building in people's life?
Come on.
What if, rather than just here's $100 for your next meal, took that person, took the $100, said, I'm gonna do 5 meals with you.
So good.
I'm gonna build into your life. I want to be a part of building your story. And I think that takes into many areas, even to marketplace. I mean, let's just be honest. There are many people who can be a blessing with the gifts in their life, but when can you turn that into building something?
So good, Mark.
Something that has generational blessing. Something that
costs more. That does cost more.
It
costs more time, more thought.
100%.
And I just remember having a conversation with a friend of mine, Rob Chifakoyo, who's a
good
guy
man
from Zimbabwe, who's now in America. But we were talking around around how many churches can end up becoming, and we use the colloquial term, Father Christmas churches, because once a year we got to do something for the poor, or once a year we got to do something, and we'll end up getting some money together. Or churches often do this; they'll throw money at a mission organization just to assuage their guilt. Oh, we've done something. When actually the reality is, God is calling us to actually enter into people's pains and do something.
Even that
deeper.
mandate: build houses, have children, grow crops, be fruitful. There's like a mandate to build. It's not, and so there's nothing wrong with blessing, but if all we ever doing is being a blessing to those around us, and we're not building something. So if we're not able to build community that's strong, you can be a blessing to community, but then you leave 3 months later, you've built nothing.
I love it.
And so I think it's just something that at that time was very helpful for you. And I know in my own life, there's been times where I've been more of a blessing than a build, but I want to build things. I want to build things that stand. I got to build my marriage, I got to build that thing.
Yeah.
I would just be a blessing
So
in my
good.
marriage, pop in, flip out, kind of, and then build something along. I want to step up and step into that space. So yeah, I know it was a tough word for you at the time.
But it's so helpful. And I think
And,
those are hard. Sometimes those tough conversations are the things that actually build in our lives. Sometimes encouragement is wonderful and we all need it.
Yeah.
But I think so often encouragement can be it can become just this light and fluffy. It doesn't take people forward. It ends up being a blessing, but not a building thing.
It's always in the light of someone's call and what God's got for them. And I really felt at that time God had more for you. He didn't want Gabe, just the guy, to step in and be a blessing.
Do you still feel that, Mark? Was it just,
No, and that's the amazing thing.
Yeah.
It has been different. There's been building, and there's been growth, and there's been people, and there's been much growth.
I think it's a great lens for anything. Say, hey, I don't want
maybe
to
it's just
be a
for
blessing.
someone watching. It is that thing. What is the dynamic of building versus blessing? Oh, someone calling. Cheers.
We're driving here. We don't take phone calls.
Don't they know?
But we're driving to Cape Town City.
Yeah.
And we're not just people, as you said, we're not just people who want to bless the city. We want to build here. The city.
Oh.
Why do you? What does it still city? Do you still love it? I know
I love it more and more.
You're a man who didn't know much of the hill country like this.
The hill country. Durban's got more hills, but we've just got a mountain.
The mountains, man.
Yeah.
Tell us about Cape Town and why are you so passionate about it?
It took a while. I'm going to be brutally honest. I think, moving from Durban, there's some differences. But gosh, I love the city. I love what God is doing in the city. There's so much challenge. I mean, there is. The one thing about Cape Town that's different to some other cities is just it's so flat. Most of the city. Maybe people don't know that. And you see the disparity. You see the injustice of challenge and the different privilege. You see it all, and you can't hide from it. You've got the hills above Cape Town with the houses selling for hundreds of millions, and then you've got the shack reality of the city. I love the diversity. I love the fact that we've been able to build a church that can serve a diverse community of people, that diverse people can thrive. Yeah. And so I've loved that. But God called us here. Yeah. And I've got a belief system that says if God called me to something, He'll let me thrive there, regardless. And so God called me, just happened to be called to a city that I think is spectacular. Yeah. But I think wherever God calls you, you should thrive.
I love that.
So that's the bigger idea there, I suppose.
One thing about Cape Town is it's got good coffee.
Good coffee.
And hopefully that's where this end point of this drive is.
Should we get to a coffee?
I think we got to get to a coffee sometime.
Beautiful. Oh, is this thing died?
Yeah, probably.
We didn't say goodbye, or?